I'm going to say something today that Milwaukee Bucks fans are not going to like about the desperation of their franchise. Plus, we're going to talk about Isaiah Stewart being fined 7 games, the Bucks signing Cam Thomas, and what that means as a Band-Aid in the Giannis situation. And like I said, the overall denial that the Milwaukee Bucks share. We'll talk about all that and more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. Suspensions have been handed out in the Detroit Pistons Charlotte Hornets fight, unfortunately, and we're going to go through what this means and what each player is going to be missing as far as money as well in regards to that. But when it comes down to it, so when you look at it now with the suspensions, they're effective immediately. Isaiah Stewart is going to be suspended 7 games. I had predicted on Locked On NBA about 6 games, and he's going to be suspended 7. He's going to miss $724,000 in regards to that suspension. That's major when it comes down to him. And honestly, some people are saying that they think it's kind of light considering he is a repeat offender and stuff like that. Now, I look at Isaiah Stewart and I know he's a tough son of a bitch, and people have asked, now people are trying to say stupid things in regards to his NBA career and stuff like that. But hey, when it comes down to it, he's going to be missing 7 games after leaving the bench. And that's the part about this that I think really did him in, is the leaving the bench aspect of it and then participating in the fight, right? And with all the other unsportsmanlike conduct and things that he's had going down with him, that's what led him to be suspended where he's suspended. Moussa, Diabate, and Miles Bridges each received 4-game suspensions in regards to their roles as well. In that, when you look at that, that's going to be missing $689,000 for Miles Bridges. Moussa Diabate is going to be missing $62,000. And then lastly, Jalen Duren was suspended 2 games in regards to that. Not a huge long one for him when it comes down to it. And, unfortunately, that's going to leave him in a spot where he's going to be missing. And the Detroit Pistons, for a team that's been so good this season, that it has one of the best stories in the NBA, being the best team in the Eastern Conference per record right now, it just sucks that that's going to be marred a little bit by this type of thing. And, the fact that it happened with 7 minutes and 9 seconds left in the third quarter, the Detroit Pistons did go on to win that game. But at this point now, the suspensions were expected. They've officially come down, and we now know what those suspensions are going to be. And we'll see what that means for these teams as they go forward. But I want to hear from you guys on this one. Just a quick update in that. What do you feel about these suspensions? Do you feel like they were warranted, that they were right? Do you think anybody should have been suspended more or less when it comes down to it? How do you feel on this? And how do you think the NBA should handle on-court situations? I know it's been really big for the NBA as far as anybody leaves the bench to get on court during an altercation. They're going to get a number of games that happens. Isaiah Stewart being a repeat offender on top of that just adds to that a little bit. But let me know what you guys think on that down below. With that said, I want to get into this thing with the Milwaukee Bucks. And this is going to be something that I know is the Bucks fans are going to hate me for this. And, it is what it is when it comes down to it. But I think sometimes we have to be honest in regards to it, right? So let's be clear here. The Milwaukee Bucks reportedly are planning on bringing Giannis Antetokounmpo back and for whatever that is. And they are now, when it comes down to it, they are, they're also signing Cam Thomas to bring to this team. But the Bucks are really just delaying the inevitable. And I really do think that. I get it that the Bucks are hopeful. We heard that around the trade deadline. They were hopeful that, if Giannis can just stay patient while they go through this lottery situation, if they get lottery luck, that's going to give them the best chance possible to really build a championship contender, having a young player. But I look at that and say, you're stupid. Because the thing is with this is that you have an opportunity now, if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, to prioritize in one of the deepest drafts in the league, your draft position, which then can get you a truly franchise-altering talent. Now, if Giannis wants to stay at that point, Giannis wants to stay, whatever it is, they're 12th in the East. They're playing for a play-in appearance. Is going to help them keep Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Milwaukee Bucks, and to calm down, to me, the Milwaukee Bucks are handling this so stupidly. Now, I get it. Giannis Antetokounmpo is it's the best Milwaukee Buck of all time. Probably, right? I'm sure somebody's going to be like, well, actually, X players, whatever. You are allowing a situation in which you have no upward mobility to actually win a playoff series. Like, let's say you even do go into the play-in. Let's say you have the chance to win a play-in. You're going to be the 8th seed or the 7th seed. Do you trust this Milwaukee Bucks team to beat the Detroit Pistons, the Boston Celtics, or the New York Knicks for that matter? The Bucks are just delaying what we all know is going to happen and what needs to happen, and that's that they need to move on from Giannis Antetokounmpo. I get it. I understand it. Like, what he's done for that franchise, what he means for that city can never be taken away. And I don't mean this as any disrespect to Giannis as the player or the Milwaukee Bucks as a franchise, but the fact of the matter is we've seen this story, and you've almost exhorted every possible avenue for you to meaningfully improve your team. You went out, you had one of the biggest sign-in waves or wave and stretch ever with the Dame Lillard situation. You brought in Miles Turner to help with that, but you've made mistakes along the way. The Kyle Kuzma trade, huge mistake, right? Yeah, you got Cam Thomas here, who's a shooter and who possibly could, add some things around Giannis. We know the thought process around Giannis with shooters, all that type of stuff. The real question they have to ask here now: are you really trying to win? Are you trying to convince Giannis Antetokounmpo to stay? Because I think those are two very, very different things. Because if you're trying to win, I don't think you have. I think the best chance for you to win long term is to be bad, is to get a high pick in this draft, and then to move Giannis and to get the picks, and that's the best long term thing, right? You are so caught up right now in just this thing with Giannis that it's going to hurt your franchise long term. You've traded away so many assets that let's even say Giannis stays, right? Are you sure he's going to stay a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now? Even if you do sign him to that extension, are you sure he's going to stay for that? Are you sure and even if he does, do you think you're really going to be able, with the assets that you have here in the state? Let's just be honest with what the Milwaukee Bucks have been. They've never been a huge free agent destination, even despite Giannis being one of the best players to ever touch a basketball. You've never been a huge free agent destination. And for the Milwaukee Bucks to ever be good, they have to draft their best players. So now you have an opportunity to stack that. You keep losing assets to try to build something, and it like you're hoping Giannis can save you, and you can't even save yourself. I don't know why the Milwaukee Bucks are so tied to this, and I don't know why they, unlike some other franchises that make the recognition of saying, "Hey, we love you, we respect you for everything that you've done here." But if we really want to win, we have to move on. I don't understand what is so difficult about this team to recognize that. And their inability to recognize that is going to continue to hurt them, limit them, and is going to put them behind the 8 ball long term. And this franchise can be in hell for the next 10 years if they keep trying to do that. But hey, what do I know? The Milwaukee Bucks are in it. They've signed Cam Thomas. Shout out to Cam Thomas, who I actually think is not the empty stats guy that people try to make him out to be. I'm not saying that he's some all-time great scorer either. I just don't think he's necessarily the empty stats guy that people try to make him out to be either in that. But, he's gotten a bad rep. He played one game for you so far, 4 points scored in the 13 minutes there. But overall, I just think the Milwaukee Bucks are really putting themselves behind the 8 ball. That's my personal opinion. But Bucks fans, let me know how you guys feel on this. NBA fans, let me know how you guys feel this, because Cam Thomas does not move the needle. He's a bucket. Make no mistake about it. He's not a culture changer. He's not fixing your roster. And even if Giannis does return, do you think Giannis, Cam Thomas, Kevin Porter, Ryan Rollins, Miles Turner, is that enough to really make some absolute noise in the East? No, the summer is still going to get nuclear for Milwaukee, and it needs to. But hey, we'll see how it goes. With that said, I want to look at the buyout market as well, right? We talked a little bit about it before, the players that could be bought out. Lonzo's already be bought out. Maybe DeMar DeRozan could be bought out. Chris Paul's already out on the market. And that leaves, there is a market reportedly, for D'Angelo Russell, who the Wizards are expected to buy him out of the team. Reportedly, we also heard that Klay Thompson is away from the team with the Dallas Mavericks too. Don't know what that means when it comes down to it. But for D'Angelo Russell, is he a player that can still help some teams? I guess depending on how you look at it, like, do you have a culture there? D'Angelo Russell is a player that can put up numbers, but is he a winner, right? But I think when you look at it, D'Lo, Lonzo, DeMar DeRozan, Chris Paul, do any of these guys end up in Boston, Denver, Golden State, or Miami and help those teams? Because those are really the teams I think that could be helped the most by buyouts. Now the Boston Celtics, they got Nikola Vucevic in there, and it looks like he's going to actually help that team quite a bit. The Denver Nuggets have tons of depth, right, already that they've built with their moves that they made this offseason. The Golden State Warriors are reportedly looking into Lonzo Ball, of all places, but a number of teams have looked into Lonzo Ball and his medicals as well. But does anything shift with that? And that's what you have to ask yourself. And overall, I'll say this. I don't know if it does. Like the buyout is a thing the buyout market, players become available that you wouldn't necessarily expect, or players that teams weren't able to actually move around the trade deadline, right? And then they go ahead and just buy him out. And I'll say this, Lonzo, if he's able to get back to what he was last year, but he just looks slow, he looks a step slower, which you would think that he would have actually gotten more healthy with another year removed from that surgery, which he was actually one of the Bulls' best plus-minus and advanced analytics players last year before being traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers before this season started. D'Angelo Russell is a player that can still help teams, right? Well, can still put up points and stuff like that. But, like, I think when you look at Anthony Davis being there, and, of course, you have Trae Young there, who we don't even know how many games those guys are actually going to play for that team after they're both being traded to that team. But even with that, it's like D'Angelo Russell, okay, cool. Now D'Angelo Russell's out on the market. Who needs a scoring guard that hasn't necessarily shown themselves to be a huge winner, who's 6'3"? I don't know, right? Like, I really don't know what's going to happen with D'Angelo Russell, who's putting up 10 points per game this year in 26 games with Dallas, playing only 19 minutes per game. He's got a guy that's averaged 17 minutes, 17 minutes a game, 17 points per game for his career. It's just this buyout market. Looking at this, these guys are going to sign to these teams. Reportedly, Lonzo and the Warriors could work something out. Like, they're going to sign to. There's going to be they're too good to just sit at home. There's going to be a team that takes a shot on one of these guys. The question then becomes really about how much do they actually help these teams? And that's what I really don't know about. I have no idea how much any of these guys can meaningfully help a basketball team at this trade deadline. I know the teams that can use some help. Miami, who didn't make a move, but then again, is Miami going to be interested in those guys? Is going to be interested in Clay if Clay gets bought out? Chris Paul is a guy that, does he go to the Houston Rockets and maybe help that team out? Fuck no, don't send D'Angelo Russell to the Houston Rockets. Even though if they sign him, that means they feel pretty confident in that. I just don't know what it is. The buyout market is the buyout market, right? And the trade deadline was absolutely fun. It was wild to see all the names that were moved, all the unexpected trades that went down, even with all the speculation that we did have. But ultimately, it comes to this question. What do you really expect from these guys? And for Lonzo, Chris Paul, I don't expect much. D'Angelo Russell, maybe coming off the bench could help a team maybe a little bit, I guess. I'm just looking at this and saying I have no idea what's going to happen with this buyout market. And we'll start seeing some players signed here in the buyout market sooner rather than later and see which teams are hoping that they're going to get a shot in the arm from some of these guys to go on. The only midseason acquisition now after the trade deadline that I'm looking at personally is Jason Tatum. Reportedly, Jason Tatum looked great in his first 5-on-5 scrimmage in a long time. He was there with two-way players and G League players. You know what it is when it comes down to it. But, this one comes from Shams, who said this. Everyone I spoke to with knowledge of Monday's practice said Tatum looked great. Tatum said he was feeling good after the scrimmage. And so it's 39 weeks since his Achilles tear. And that's what Tatum told players and say, we'll see. He says, it doesn't mean that I'm coming back or not. We're just following the plan. It was just another step. But like I said in my last video, if Jason Tatum makes a return to the basketball court, the East is going to shift. If he's able to stay himself, stay healthy, and be the player that we've seen before, the question just becomes about, is Jason Tatum getting back on the court? And we'll see that. But that's it for today, man. I want to hear from you guys on this one. The Bucks say they're not giving up, but should they? So let me know what you guys think on that down below. Let me know what you guys think on every thought and opinion here. You guys can follow us at NBA Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything basketball related. I'll catch you guys the next time I feel like making a video. Probably tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.